Christopher, we were just talking about one of the comments to our videos about how to sanctify sex and marriage. And one of the things I wanted to spend a little more time on was this question of, and maybe this is more of a male question too, which is fine. We're two males, so we can talk about this.
Let's do it.
And we're both married, 20 plus years. We are navigating this and have navigated it quite a ways. And I know you've perfected it, and so have I.
I don't know if I've perfected it. I know that I haven't perfected
I've perfected the knowledge that I am not perfect at this.
I have perfected that knowledge, yes.
Anyway, here's a very common question again we get at issues. Am I, as a man, am I sinning because I want to have sexual intercourse with my wife? Is it merely, is the church telling me that I'm just sinful because I want this? And man, that's a tough one. It's tough in one sense. But
it's tough in the sense that our desires have been confused by sin.
Yes.
But at its most basic level, this is the way God made us, right? We long for union. At its most basic level, behold, it is very good. And that's precisely why the enemy is after it, because it's so good. John Paul II says that with original sin, the ease of their loving communion was shattered. It's no longer easy to find that place of real, holy communion, right? In each of us is something good that has gotten twisted up. And in as much as it has been twisted up, the good is still in there. So we have to affirm, always affirm, that good desire is still in there. But we can't just say, follow it as is, because as it is in our fallen condition, something's twisted up. And if we merely follow it as it is and as I experience it in my fallen condition, the chances are I'm going to end up using my wife as an object for my selfishness. That's the bent of our twisted, fallen humanity. The good news is that Christ comes right into that bent, twisted up reality of our humanity to untwist it. Right? The very first miracle that Christ performs in the Gospels is this: the untwisting in the marital relationship of what sin has twisted up. The wedding feast at Cana, running out of wine, John Paul tells us, is a symbol of the original sin. It's a symbol that erotic desire has run out of divine love, agape. Right? Throughout the Bible, wine is a symbol of God's love. It's not a symbol that erotic
desire is evil at its core.
This
is the mistake that we make.
Right. Remember those words of Jesus. In the beginning. Jesus points us back to the beginning to understand God's plan for marriage. And in the beginning, eros, erotic desire, was full of God's wine, so to speak.
Even saying erotic desire is hard, especially on a YouTube video like this, because we say erotic desire and it goes to porn.
Right. That's not what we're talking about.
And that is not at all what we're talking about.
No.
You're saying eros, that upward impulse of the soul, right? For everything that's true, good, and beautiful. That's what eros
is. Erotic desire, expressed in God's plan in the beginning, expressed sacrificial love. And the very fact that we hear erotic desire and connect it with porn is the indication of the thing that got twisted up. And if we're taking that twisted up thing and applying it to the marriage bed and saying, well, it's okay because she's my wife. No, it's not okay to treat your wife like an object for your selfish pleasure.
So this is the heart. So this is great because in the same sentence we have to say, yes, that desire to be one flesh with your wife is at its fundamental core holy.
God looked at everything He made and said, behold, it's very good.
However, at the same time, I don't know to what degree you, me, or any individual man that might be watching this, to what degree that's twisted. It's twisted to some degree because we're all broken and sinful. So that's the path of virtue and holiness, is what you're saying, is allowing that grace to come in and untwist us.
Correct.
And that is a lifelong process.
Correct.
And that we have to stay on. And so it's not, so we can't fall for the trap of just saying, look, I'm not sinning because God made me this way, and I just want to have this experience with my wife, and that's good. Okay, yeah, there's a way you can say that's good, but no, it's not just instinct. You said in another video, it's not just what separates us from the animals. It's not just an instinctual impulse. No, we have freedom. We have to freely enter into this to what it is truly meant to be. And that's what you're touching on.
Right. And that means going on a journey of deep inner purifications. I've been married 26 years. Those purifications are real and painful. If we embrace them, they lead to a glory and a joy that makes it all worth it. For the joy set before him, Christ endured the cross. And if we take the Christian life seriously, it means being willing to shine a light on our inmost motives. And a lot of times, not always, because we're not all bad, right? There's wheat and weeds growing in there. And what we're talking about here is making those distinctions. Okay, here's some weeds: selfishness, ego, lust. Let's not water those, right? Let's not pretend they're good. But let's not also make the mistake that I'm all weeds, right? No, there's a lot of wheat in there. The fundamental desire for union is wheat. Let's learn how to water that. Let's learn how to foster that self-donating desire to be a gift to another and to receive the gift of the other. We need to water that and not water the weeds. Those are the distinctions we're trying to make. I think
that the weeds and wheat, the analogy that you use, which you got from somebody named Jesus. It's great. It's such a helpful analogy because we want to be so black and white about this stuff, and we cannot be.
So we can't say it's all weeds, nor can we say it's all wheat.
And I would challenge myself and you and any man listening to this to say, when you are in that moment of sexual desire, wanting to be with your wife, and you are frustrated, or you're encountering whatever obstacle or block in you, to stop and say, okay, what is it that is frustrating me? Don't just say, I'm not getting what I want, and what I want is okay and good. No, what's really frustrating me? What am I not willing to surrender and let go of? And that's where we really got to search our heart. And there are layers and layers in our heart, so that's not an easy answer. You got to let Jesus in there. You got to take that to prayer. You got to read Scripture. You got to open that part of your heart. I mean, really, I would say personal prayer on your own and with your spouse.
Critical.
Going into these areas, it has to be there. You have to be there because you have to allow grace to over and over take you into these deep, deep places so that it shines its light there, and so we can see where we're really broken. And that takes a lot of courage.
Here's a very practical experience I just had recently. Desire. I want to be one with my wife. She's not in a place to come together when I desired it. Temptation. Blame. Right?
Sure.
That's not a good dynamic. Even maybe my wife should have been more open. I don't know. I can't read her heart in all these situations. Let's even say maybe she should have been. But what should my response be? If I'm just mad at her, blaming her, and not looking at the fact that the deepest desire of my heart for union is not even something my wife can really and truly fulfill. At best, the union of husband and wife can be a beautiful sacramental sign of the union I really desire, which is union with God. And I remember this is very recent, frustration, not happening, desire can't be fulfilled. In ages past, in years past in our marriage, that would have caused tension, friction. I'm learning to do this. Say, Lord, I love my wife. I want to love her right where she is. What I really desire at the deepest part of me is union with you. So I open that to you, Lord. Making the desire itself a prayer. Well, that might sound, pie in the sky stuff. No. This is very practical. In the moment of the frustration, rather than blame somebody else that I'm not getting what I want, maybe say, Lord, shine your light on what I really want. Because if I think this is what I really want, that union I'm idolizing, right? At its best, it's an icon of what I really want, union with God. And it can be a beautiful, glorious icon. It's meant to be. The union of man and woman in one flesh is a great mystery. But it's not an end in itself. It refers to the union of Christ and the church, what I'm really destined for. And this means shifting our entire view of the world. This world is not where I'm going to find my ultimate fulfillment. This world has many beautiful signs of where I'm to find my ultimate fulfillment. And one of the most beautiful signs he's given us of our ultimate fulfillment is the union of man and woman. But whenever we aim our ultimate desires for union with God at union with another human being, we're going to wound that other human being, we're going to wound ourselves, and it's going to cause friction, pain, and tension. The way out of that, as you said well, is to learn really and truly what prayer is. Mm-hmm. And I'll just quote Pope Benedict XVI. He said this: when the Christian prays, he's seeking nuptial union with the Lord.
There it is.
If that's not the way you think, or if this is new to you, I encourage you to start exploring some of our other videos that we hope and pray will open your eyes to another way of seeing, another way of thinking, a sacramental way of seeing this world as a sign that points to another world. C.S. Lewis said it very well. He said, if we find in ourselves desires that nothing in this world can satisfy, then it only makes logical sense that we're made for another world. That's what we want to help you to discover in these videos, how this world points to another world. Theology of our bodies points to something greater.